আজকে আমাদের সাথে আরেকজন থাকবেন, আহ মিস নিশা তানজুম শোভা। উনিও আমার সাথে থাকবেন এই সেশনে। লেটস স্টার্ট দেন। আমি আমার স্ক্রিনটা শেয়ার করে নিব। Just give me a few seconds, আমি স্ক্রিন শেয়ার করতেছি। সো আশা করি স্ক্রিন দেখা যাচ্ছে। ওকে, সো আমরা পারতপক্ষে চেষ্টা করবো যে ক্যামেরাটাকে অফ রাখতেই। ক্যামেরা অন রাখলে ব্যান্ডউইথ একটা ইস্যু হয় অনেক সময়। সো এট দ্য বিগিনিং হয়তো সবাইকে শুভ সন্ধ্যা। আমরা শুরু করে ফেলছি আজকে। আজকে আমাদের টপিক হচ্ছে প্রিপেয়ারিং সাস্টেনেবিলিটি রিপোর্ট। সো বেসিক্যালি এটা টেকনিক্যাল টপিক। সাস্টেনেবিলিটি রিপোর্ট নিয়ে আমরা যত আলোচনা করেছি, ধরেন ব্যাকগ্রাউন্ড কনটেক্সট, রিপোর্টের পার্ট, রিপোর্টের কিছু স্যাম্পল আমরা দেখেছি, কিছু কমিউনিকেশন মানে কি বলবো ওয়েজ গুলো আমরা দেখেছি। তো আজকে যেটা হবে যে সাস্টেনেবিলিটি রিপোর্ট লেখার বিষয়টা একটু থাকবে। আর একটু আমরা রাখবো সেটা হচ্ছে আপনার সাস্টেনেবিলিটি রোড ম্যাপ, সাস্টেনেবিলিটি ম্যানেজমেন্ট রোড ম্যাপ এটা, অথবা প্ল্যান। আসলে প্ল্যান শব্দটাই বলাটাই স্পেসিফিক হবে। সো সাস্টেনেবিলিটি ম্যানেজমেন্ট প্ল্যান, যেটা বিআইএম থেকে ওনারা চাচ্ছেন। প্রথমে তো ওনারা চেয়েছিলেন যে সাস্টেনেবিলিটি রিপোর্ট একটা লেখা যায় কিনা, বাট
আচ্ছা, একটু ইন্টারাপ্ট করি
জি
মুনতাসির ভাই। অ্যাকচুয়ালি দিস ইজ নট আওয়ার রিকোয়ারমেন্ট, ইটস দ্য রিকোয়ারমেন্ট ফ্রম জিআইজেড।
ওকে, GIZ requirement. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for corrections.
Sorry for
So
interruption.
no worries, bhai. So thank you for correction. So 54 participants will jump into the topic. Sorry for starting in Bangla again. So um, the sustainability management plan we will also look into at the end. We have some examples as well for that, because 4 lectures or 4 sessions of 2.5 hours not enough, to be very frank, for writing a sustainability report, even for an ESG report. This is kind of very broad topic, and by now we know that it requires lot of information to accumulate and process, analyze, and then present in the report. And this sort of reporting is like saying something in public about a company. So whenever anything it goes to the public, there may be a lot of questions, there may be a lot of how to say it, negativities, or some, how to say, wanted, unwanted kind of attention from many stakeholders. So we have to be always cautious and prepared while you we share this type of information in the public. So 4 lectures, that's I was actually mentioning, not enough for preparing a sustainability report. However, what we will look into today, we'll look into sustainability management plan. So you will be required to present a plan. It could be brief, it could be 6 pages, 8 pages, 10 pages about your organization. You may not be able to find all the information or accurate information, but at least please do keep in mind that this is kind of a sample report you will be preparing for a company. It could be your company, it could be any other company. So better that your company, but the data may not be or need not to be the correct and accurate. It can be data which you can use without kind of making it very accurate. So let's start today and we jump into the session. Okay. So today our objectives are data analysis, tools. We will look into the tools, planning and writing, how actually we need to write a report, a chapter, subchapter, a segment, subsegment, and what are the disclosures requirement we'll look into. Integration with SDG. Definitely this is very important, to say it like area where we need to look into. So SDG integration, and then sustainability management plan as we discussed and learned that this is the requirement of GIZ. It's kind of the minimum requirement. Otherwise, we'll not be able to provide you the certificate. Nazmi Niyaz bhai actually mentioned it on the email communication. So we will be sharing this PowerPoint tomorrow, not today, because tomorrow we have another session with another group. So after the end of the session, we'll be sharing the PowerPoint presentation with you. So without further ado, let's jump into the topic. So here I would like to invite our colleague or like expert, Ms. Nishat, to take over and start, her deliveries. So, okay. So I think it can be that Ms. Nishat, you can also share your screen if you like, or I can change the screen. Could be because it is kept in the shared drive. If it is, you can also open it and you can also share from your end.
Thank you, sir. Assalamualaikum and good evening, everyone. Am I audible clearly?
Yes.
Okay. Sir, it's all right. You can continue sharing the slides because sometime it might happen that my net will fluctuate. So I think it will be helpful if you share the screen. Otherwise, I can share as well. That's it. Okay. So at first, let me briefly introduce myself. I'm Nishan Shobha. I'm currently working as lead assessment. I am also a GI certified sustainability professional, just like my professor. And from the starting of my career, I have been engaged with ESG reporting. So in our previous two sessions, topic 1 and topic 2, we have covered the context, and I think we have also shared how data is collected. So creation of data template, doing materiality assessment to identify the main topics that will be shared in the report. And today we'll be focusing on the analysis part. After that, how to present the analysis.
We are not listening clearly. You are not proper audible. We are not listening clearly.
Okay, all right. Let me just try in another way. Is it better now or just like the previous one? No?
Broken your voice and interrupted.
Okay, I understand. All right. Sir, can you please continue? Meanwhile, I'll try to switch my network.
Yes, ma'am, continue, but we need to clear voice, understand.
Okay, so qualitative and quantitative, we are familiar with this thing at this stage of our profession, I believe. So both type of analysis are needed on the data we collect from kind of a company. So whenever a company is interested to share information through sustainability report, both type of data analysis are needed, and both type of data are processed in terms of because we know information, it is a like kind of qualitative. We share a lot of information, a lot of literatures or like narratives in the report. Apart from that, we also process a lot of data in digits, in numbers, in percentage ratio, and also we share these or we process this through different tools like Excel, and then Also, there are some online tools like GST protocol tool and some other software are available now. And we can also do it manually through Excel, as I have shared. So this is the kind of analysis, how it is there done. Then trend. So data trend and also reporting trend, these are all very important. So in terms of reporting trend or reporting, how to say it, like data presentation, we always look into the industrial sector within the country or within the region and as well as globally. So it could be like within the industry sector, within the region, within the country, and around the world, same industry segment. That can be checked for trend. Intensity, of course, data intensity. So growth for a company is an issue that every company wants, but last year it could be like a company used 100,000 cubic meter or 1 lakh cubic meter of water. But this year, a company can use 150,000 cubic meter of water. Apparently, it may seem that the total the water use by the company increased, but on the other way, it could be that the company's production volume also increased in such a way that the intensity got reduced because of the increased volume. So these are the things that how we basically look into it and how the sustainability report looks into it. So then footprint, of course, different types of footprints. So it's like carbon footprint, water footprint. We have learned these terminologies throughout our kind of sustainability lessons journeys. So these are the things how the data are presented and analyzed. Okay, so moving on.
Sir, am I audible clearly now?
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
analysis tools, you'd like to take over or no issue, Nishat, please, you can start. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. I hope I am audible. If not, then please write it in the chat box. Then we'll take measures. So in the previous slide, we have just checked that in broad perspective, what are the analysis that can be done. So we can think about the trend of any particular organization that can be represented. Different footprint and intensity can be presented. Qualitative and qualitative and quantitative analysis can also be presented. However, when we are talking about the tools by which we can analyze specific numerical value, we can focus on different types of tools. You will find that there are different organizations who are working very hard so that different software can be made which will auto calculate the ESG data of any organization. Definitely in longer term, when they are done with the calibration, or we can say that correction or modification of their software, then after a certain time, it might happen that it is good enough for calculating the data. But at this moment, when we are actively working on sustainability reporting and we want accurate representation, the main tool that should be used for qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis, that one is Microsoft Excel. Because if I say in short that what kind of calculations are done, it's only like we have to find the average, we have to find the footprint by calculating or by summing up all the water use and divide it with the production and everything. So just some summation, some subtraction maybe, sometimes we do some kind of division. So some simple mathematical things are done, for which Microsoft Excel is enough. So that is one analysis tool that is readily available in everyone's computer and we can use that. But specifically for emission calculation, we should use GST protocol tool if we are familiar with it. And if not, there is another easy one, which is IPCC emission calculation tool that is also publicly available, just like GST protocol tool. This one is more user-friendly, I would say. I have used both of this. We use multiple other tools as well. However, these two are most user-friendly one. So for analysis, we should always focus on Excel. That's enough. If not, then we can move on to other kind of analysis tools. Moving to the next slide. We'll see some examples of the analysis and presentation in the in the upcoming slides. So over here, just to recap, for energy and emission, we have shown this data template in topic 2, where you have seen that for energy consumption, we can use what amount of energy was obtained from the different sources, like from natural gas, from burning oil, diesel, how much energy was consumed, and what was the total energy consumption. Now think that if we want to check the energy intensity, or if we want to check the emission even, what we will do, we'll convert this energy and we'll find out what was the carbon dioxide equivalent. And after that, we will check the footprint, or we will check the energy intensity for our overall production. It can be per kg of production, it can be per piece of production. If it is a service-oriented industry, we can even calculate that how much carbon footprint we have per employee. So that can be also considered. Moving on to the next slide. We have the social one. We can take the number of employees, then temporary employee, part-time employee, all that. So when we are analyzing that, simply, if we are to present a trend of 3 different years, what we are going to do for employee? We will just take the total number in Excel sheet and we will place what was the total number in each of the year. If we want to identify what is the turnover rate, so what we are going to do, we will simply divide, we will find out the rate for each particular year. So in 1 year, out of total employee, what percentage of employee actually left the organization, right? So that one can be identified. So just for this simple calculation, Excel is enough. Then in case of energy and emission as well, we have to make a total, so just sum. And then if it is emission, then we will use a different tool. If it is not, then we will just divide with the overall production using the unit we use. So just to show a simple example, within one particular template where the data is obtained from every department, a person who is okay with doing those kind of calculation can easily do it in the same template which was used for collecting the data. Moving on to the next slide. For economic as well, as we have learned that one particular disclosure for reporting can be revenue earned, distributed, and retained. So when we get the total revenue earned, if we just subtract the distributed one, we will get the retained value. So there are some very simple data analysis that we need to do for sustainability reporting. Moving on to the next slide. So as the data analysis is very simple for reporting, however, when it comes to presenting that findings for every year, it's difficult to actually plan a specific chapter or specific segment. Like if we think about a report, there will be at least 4 to 5 segments, right? We know about ESG already. There will be environment segment, social segment, governance segment. There will be economic segment as well. However, there will be another part where we will present the context of our organization, or what we do, what are our services, what are our vision and mission, where are we located, and those segments will take up another part. So whatever it is, or whichever chapter we are writing, we can at first plan that definitely it is not a task of one specific person in our organization. We have to have a team. When we are working as a team, we can divide one chapter or one segment to each employee who is proficient or who is confident that he or she can effectively write a chapter on that. So if we are done distributing the work, when we start to write a chapter, initially there should be a checklist. You can take a screenshot of this slide as well. The first one to check is introduction of main risks and opportunities related to your topic. So if we are writing about energy, we should at first find out that what are the risks we have for our organization that is connected with energy, and what are the opportunities, or what are the good things that we are doing, or what will be our goals and targets in future, how we are going to progress. Those are opportunities. So first one are the negative side as well as the positive side, which should be identified. The second one is making sure that we have proof for our argument. So one example for the negative one is, as we are using energy, that's why we are using non-renewable resources, which is resulting in depletion, that we have learned in one of our previous sessions. And the opportunity is, as we are at this moment sourcing most of our energy from non-renewable sources, in the future we can shift it to renewable one. So here comes the opportunity. What is the opportunity? Our top management has decided that 20% of our energy will be sourced from renewable sources or solar panels. So if that is our opportunity, we have to show proof for our argument. So it's very easy. If we just show that what are the sources we are using for energy and from where we are obtaining it, we can easily show the evidence for risk. And the opportunity, the proof for opportunity is your explanation, where you will say from when or from which year you have started to invest on solar panel, or from which year you will start to invest in solar panel, how you are evaluating your contractor, how far the progress has been, what are the KPIs you have set, or you can also mention that which specific person is responsible for achieving that goal. Those kind of details will show the evidence. Okay, or if you have a specific report, you can refer to that, or you can connect your goal with a specific target of the country as well, which will lead to the evidence or proof, which will make it more valid or strong debate, I would say. Third one is relevant GRI standard and SDGs. So over here, what we need to do, it doesn't need to be GRI only, it can be other standard as well. Whichever standard you are following, you should select which particular disclosure number connects with this topic and which SDG are we connecting it. So if we are talking about energy, we can say that our focus SDG over here is SDG 7. And we can also mention that 302, that is our GRI disclosure number or GRI topic standard that we are following. That is another identification. That is another point in checklist. Then moving about, thinking about the good practice examples. So what are the good practice example and where we can find it? We can find it from different kind of similar sustainability report that has already been published, and we can see that how they have represented their one. We can take inspiration from that part. Definitely we're not going to copy, but we can take inspiration about the representation. After that, creating a storyboard. We will show you what the storyboard is. There is one comment over here that I have seen. Provide template to prepare sustainability management plan. Definitely, that is one consideration that can be shared with by Muntasir sir. We frequently find different requests that one template should be provided through which one sustainability report is written. But it's not that kind of thing, because every organization is different and their chapter will be different as well. However, there is a set structure or a storyboard through which we can easily navigate and plan our chapter. We are going to show you that one. That is another checklist you should have. That means the storyboard or the storyline should be prepared beforehand. Then write down what you have to do next. That means planning ahead. So if it is connected with communicating with the organization or communicating with a specific department to obtain the information, that should be written down as in the to-do list. Then presentation of the storyboard to the team and get their advice. So as I have told before, that this should not be a one-person task. One team should work over it. So when you are planning your chapter, you should discuss it among your team and you should get the advice if any improvement can be done before starting to draft it. Lastly, based on the advice, if there is any point, we can try to improve the storyboard. That means we can change the storyline or we can include information which will increase the credibility or which will make it easy for the audience to understand. I have talked about a lot of things over here, but just to summarize what I want to share, that is, before you start to write a chapter, you should have a solid plan and you should have many identification from literature review or research, which will inspire you to generate a specific structure. So just like, let's say that back in SSC, HSC or O-level, A-level, whenever we used to do creative writing, every teacher used to say that for 5 minutes, you should plan your chapter or you should plan your essay before writing it. This is the same thing. Just one thing additional over here is we should do some background research to see what the good examples are. Moving on to the next slide. So for introduction of the chapter, what should be the checklist? Introduction means definitely the first paragraph of any particular chapter. We know that the span of our mind, or if we say that how focused we can be or how far we can read just in one sitting. Even if we see any kind of book, we look for different kind of infographics or different information. And even if we start to read the first 1 or 2 sentence or 3 sentence, after that, we will lose our interest to read more if it is not that much captivating, right? So whenever we are writing the introduction, it should have a hook, which will make sure that the reader is going to read the other parts as well, and he or she will be checking in the performance that we wanted to share. So before writing the introduction, the checklist should be the first one. What is your main message? It should come to the introduction chapter. For example, in many of the sustainability reports, you will see that the first line or first or second line actually says what is the goals and targets, because the audience or the stakeholder wants to know that what the organization have done for sustainability or for that particular topic. So if we are talking about energy, what my organization have done so that we can ensure responsible use of energy, or what goals and targets we have set to reduce our energy consumption. So the main message or main target, the achievement, that should be mentioned in the first 1 or 2 line. Even if it is the case that we have taken a target before 7 years or 8 years, and now we have already achieved it. In that case, it becomes our performance, and that performance should be written in the first 1 or 2 sentences. We are going to see examples. After that, we need to mention the main topics of the chapter. So definitely the title will be energy. However, in our sentence as well, it should be mentioned that it is regarding energy, just for easily understanding. Mention relevant SDGs like the previous one. What are the SDGs just connected with my impact, or what are the contribution I'm making in that SDG? That should also be in the introduction part. See the last line that says, try to restrict the introduction to 3 to 7 sentences. That means the introduction should not be long, because the attention of a person is getting limited day by day. So for example, we used to see long videos, but nowadays we mainly focus on reels or short videos. We look for that one which is short and gives more information in a very short time span. In the same way, the introduction in a very short time should say the gist of the chapter. Moving on to the next slide. Over here, we have an example on the right side. On the left side, we have the checklist for reporting on management approach. So if we are familiar with the what our standard says, or if we think from our common sense as well, when we are writing about any impact of my organization, we should definitely focus on how we are managing it. For example, if we are talking about energy, the management is we have a specific job description which is assigned to a competent person. That means I have executive, sustainability executive, or I have an engineer who mainly sees all the energy consumption, electrical engineer, or I have a manager who actually manages a team of 5 people whose main focus is on energy efficiency and everything. That's how we are managing it. And we can also mention that the manager reports to the top management, who eventually um, evaluates against specific KPI and set direction to achieve that KPI and everything. So when we are reporting on how we are managing that impact, that is known as management approach. The first thing when we are writing the management approach should be the challenges and opportunities related to the topic. So the challenges is, let's say in Bangladesh context, even if we say that we will source 100% of our energy from renewable sources, it's not practical for us. So that can be a challenge which can be mentioned over here. However, what are the opportunities? Opportunities are we can, so as we have a good amount of sunlight throughout the year, so we can mention about the solar panel, and we generate different kind of waste. We can talk about biofuel as well, which will come in the future. So those are the opportunities. So what are the main challenges, or why we are not being able to reduce our impact? That challenge should be shared in the management approach as well as the opportunity. Secondly, we need to mention the activities that we do. So whenever we are sharing the performance, definitely there is a context that we need to share, which we have learned in topic 2 as well. However, we should mention over here that what are the activities that we do to manage our impact. So if we talk about any management system, if our organization are 14,001 certified or 45,001 certified, then we will see that upon observing the risk and opportunities, we set how to mitigate it and everything. That means the management plan. So if over here, we should also mention what are our activities to reduce those challenges and who are involved in it. That means the responsible personnel. Then their responsibility should be shared as well. After that, main guidelines and regulations that you follow, that should be mentioned. So if we are maintaining any or complying to any national law or international law, we should mention it over there. After that, the main achievements. So because of that management, what are the achievements that have been done? So over here also it comes that what are the goals and objectives we have taken and how far we have come. So what are the achievements? That should be a part of management approach. Now, as we are saying again and again that this is creative writing, that means the introduction, that means the previous slide and this one, reporting on management approach, this doesn't need to be separate paragraph even. You can see that most of the things are common, just 2 or 3 things are additional. So if you want to merge these 2 paragraphs, you can easily do that. You can be as much creative as you want. However, you need to ensure that this is easy to understand and the main things that we want to communicate is being communicated. Like in the right side, you can see a picture, and this is the corporate responsibility report of LG North in 2017, how they did it. So this is about their sustainable standard in the non-food supply chain. So their products which are non-food, over here you can see the first paragraph. That one says that what is their objective and what are the activities they have done. If we read just slightly to give you more context, see, our objective is to enable millions of customers in Europe to shop in our store with a good conscience, To make this possible, we take responsibility for safe and fair working conditions and compliance with environmental standards wherever we can make a difference. So see what they are saying, what is their main objective and how they are working to achieve it. And the other parts also contain their main activities that they do, or how they are trying to managing the non-food supply chain in a sustainability manner. Then their approach is shared. After that, the social standard they follow within the supply chain that is mentioned. And as they comply with AMFORI BSCI code of conduct, that has been also mentioned over here, which connects with our checklist number 4. And then the audit result. What was the audit result? That has been shared as well. So in a transparent manner, everything our organization is doing for managing our impact, that should be shared in the introduction and management approach part. Moving to the next slide. All right, so this slide is about reporting on the most important topics. That means reporting on the material topics, or we can also consider that as an organization, the most important achievements or focus points where we are, of which we are proud of, that should be shared separately. So what are the activity that actually resulted in that particular outcome? Then what are the KPI that has been achieved? And to show that different kind of photos, citations, or graphical representation of different things can be shared. For example, this is the H&M report of 2017. You can see the first line says 100% circular and renewable explained. Over here, they have mentioned our planet provides us with an abundance of natural resources. We know that. However, global demands are rapidly outstripping supply. If the population continues as expected, the volume of clothes sold around the world will triple to 160 million tons by 2050. So at this point, the background research they have done, that has been shared. And see, at the end, they have mentioned at H&M Group, we believe that an industry-wide shift from linear to circular business model is the only solution. So how it is separate from the previous things that we have shared? One of our key impact, or one of the research that we use, is material, right? So when we talk about the recycled material use and everything, that is a separate chapter. Now, as they are trying to make their industry circular instead of linear, so all their activities that they have done to empower the supply chain and ensure the shift, they have mentioned over here. So whenever we are writing our achievement or a specific target, we can write in this way. Moving on to the next one. So as I shared before, that one storyboard template will be shared over here. We know that for EIA, there are many samples that we can easily copy. For sustainability report, there are no such samples, but this storyboard template was shared from one of our German experts, and this storyboard is actually a very good planning option for us. See the storyboard, the first one consists of chapter name. If you remember the previous slide, over there, it was mentioned that they are talking about circularity. So 100% circular material or that kind of thing. Chapter name can be simply material as well. So whether we are focusing on writing in a creative manner, that can be mentioned over here, or we can keep it simple. So chapter name. After that, message or subheadline of the chapter. So if there is specific quote of any top management, let's say our CEO has said that, that can be focused in one particular part in a particular chapter. So chapter name, and after that the heading. After that, there is a segment which is named as author. Why we are mentioning that? Because as we have said before, that there can be a team where everyone is working. So when we mention that who actually have written that part, we can specifically talk with them. So it's easy to actually navigate that who is responsible, or how someone can improve, or who did a very good work which can be followed. So author name can be mentioned. Then planned link. I think someone is talking.
Please mute yourself if you are not talking. Omar Farooq Bhai, please mute yourself.
Thank you. So after that comes planned length. So what is a planned length? If we think that we are going to complete the chapter within 2 paragraphs, we can say that. If we think that it will be 200 words or 300 words, or it will be 2 pages or 3 pages, or within 1 page, we are going to write that. So planned length should be selected at first. That's how you can confine yourself, right? And then GRI indicator or ESRS indicator, any standard that you are using, you should mention that which indicator or which topic standard or disclosure number you are writing about. That will make sure that the requirements are fulfilled. It will be easier for you to check back and forth with the standard also. Then SDG, what is the focus SDG that we have, where our main impact is being contributing, or our activities are being contributing. So this is the storyboard, the first segment. Then if we come to the second table, which is subheadline and content. So this particular section is for each different paragraph. The first segment was for whole chapter. The second segment is for each paragraph. Now over here, you can insert the topic. So if it is management of the topic, that will come to the insert topic segment. If the introduction is being shared in different way, that will come over there. Or if you're writing about the performance of your, or you are writing about the goals and achievement, that can come in the first column. After that, what is the length that you are thinking of? It can be 100 words, or it can be 2 to 3 sentences. You can write that, and that content should be written in the right segment. So what happens in that way? In every team, there is a person who manages or reviews the report. Whenever you're publishing a book, it's not like one person writes it and without any review that is being published, right? So this particular segment can be shared among the team, and that can be used for reviewing before placing it in the design part or before placing it in the final report. So that is one storyboard template that we can use. This kind of template actually makes it easier for us to go in a planned way. Let's say we are writing an essay in Bengali. We know that the marks are given based on the pages, right? Once upon a time, maybe not in this, maybe who are studying in schools now, they might not face it, but we have faced it. That if you write it 15 or 20 pages of essay, that means you are getting a good mark. But sustainability report is not that, right? We have to ensure that the information is being conveyed in a very effective manner. So for that reason, we need to make it concise, and this kind of storyboard template actually helps us remaining within a certain limit and share TARS information, which will ensure that people easily understand the performance that we want to communicate, as well as show the progress we have made. So this is one thing that you can take as a template, or I would say for reporting, for planning for a specific chapter, you can follow this one. The storyboard template will be shared with you as well. Moving on with the next slide. So chapter segments. In a sustainability report, there are different segments. As we have already shared, there can be 4 to 5 segments. We are going to see that one in the next slide. The first one, the organization and its reporting practices. So what we write over here, there are many slides we have today. I'm just going to go a little bit fast over here. In case of the organization and its reporting practices, we should include what the organization is about. That means what are our product and services, where are we located, how many employees we have, and what is our reporting practices. Do we report annually or biannually? Which standard we follow? If we have a specific point of contact, we definitely need to share it. If there is any publication, there is a person with whom someone should be able to connect if they have a feedback or any question. So that contact point for the report should be shared. And if it is the second or third report and you want to share any information that has been changed from the first report or second report, that restatement or that change should be mentioned at the beginning. And after that, if the report is externally assured, that means if it is a verified report, then we should mention it in the first part as well. That means the first segment. Moving on to the next part. Activities and workers. So how many workers we have, what are the activities we have, what are the supply chain, or what are our business relationship, who are our partner organization, with whom we have membership. Those should be shared over here. Along with that, if we are being transparent or if we are able, then we should also share about the workers who are not employees. That means the contractual segments of any organization. That thing should also be shared. Moving on with the next part, which is governance. So in the governance segment, we'll always see in a sustainability report, our organogram is given where the sustainability team is focused on. That means how the organization is actually managing their sustainability. That should be the key point in that governance segment. So governance structure and composition, the first one. Then if you have a nomination and selection process for selecting the highest governance body, that election procedure should be given in the report. Then who is the chair of highest governance body, that comes within the organogram as well, but their role should be presented separately. That means how the top management is overall seeing the sustainability of the organization, how they are evaluating the performance, how they are setting goals and targets, and how they are monitoring it even. That role of the top management should be shared. Moving on to the next segment. In the governance part, there can be other disclosures, like Sir may have shared already that there is a specific incentive for CEOs if they are able to achieve sustainability performance. Even recently, I have seen one news of KPMG as well, as their employees will be given incentive based on their specific sustainability goals that they have set. So in the same way, if we talk about the remuneration factor, in that case, if an organization wants to be transparent enough, that might not be the present situation in our country, but many countries have adopted it. So what are their remuneration policies, how they determine remuneration, if there is any incentive for sustainability, that should be shared. Then how they manage the conflict of interest, how they evaluate the knowledge of highest governance body. Those disclosures should be also a point of consideration if we want to make our sustainability report very transparent one. Moving on to the next part, strategy, policies and practices. Over here, there are many questions that we often face. That is, what are the policies and practices or strategies that we are going to share? Will it be connected with our environment, our health and safety, or whether it will be connected with our business strategies? Actually, the sustainability report should contain all the strategies that is connected with sustainability. So if it is any environment, social segments, or the policies and practices that's connected with environment, social, as well as business sustainability, those things should be mentioned over here. So over here, see some disclosures disclosures number are given, like sustainable development strategy that we have, that means long-term goal, short-term goal, the policies that has been taken up, then how the commitments or policy has been communicated, what is the process to reduce the negative impact, then how within the organization advice is obtained. For example, let's say that we have a sustainability committee where 2 experts are present, and we seek advice from them how to run sustainability within the organization. That should be clearly stated in the report as well. Then membership association, then compliance with law and regulation. That means the country law that we are focusing on, the international law that we are comply with, or international standard or certifications we have, those should be shared in this part. Moving on to the next slide. Stakeholder engagement. We have already learned who are our stakeholders, external and internal, right? The report, one of the main key part of the report is how stakeholders are connected or how they are engaged with in a timely manner. So let's say we do management review meeting twice in a year. So that is one part of its stakeholder engagement. Let's say for different kind of inspection, government bodies actually visit our organization. That is one part of sustainable stakeholder engagement. Then in case of employees, we organize training, or we sometimes seek their feedback through email communication. So stakeholder engagement says who are our stakeholder, why did we connect with them, in what frequency and how, and what were the key sustainability objectives that were discussed, and what was the feedback that they provided us. So that is stakeholder segment part, which should be presented in the report. Moving on with the next part. See, each of these segments are actually part of the report, and you will see every report contains this segment. We know that this might be a lot to take within 2.5 hours. However, if you just think about the key elements, you can easily write the report. However, you should ensure that none of the points are missed. There is one fine line though. If you do not want to be transparent at the first report, if you want to gradually increase your transparency, it's not like all the disclosures or all the requirements should be met at first. At first, we should start slow, or we should see what are the available information we have, and then gradually we can increase the transparency. So now that we have talked about the governance, their remuneration policy, nomination and election, all the stuff, if an organization does not want to share it with the stakeholder, it's all right. If we find that this is a material topic or our stakeholder are really interested in that part, then you can take it into consideration. Otherwise, do not take it as a requirement, because till now this is a voluntary thing. So if we talk about environment, you will see that 60% of the audience who wants to see a sustainability report, their focus actually is on environment part. So as I understand that there are multiple issues whenever I'm talking, I would like Muntasir sir to take over here and continue with the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nisha. Thank you very much. Let's continue. Okay, so this is the environment part. Okay. So now we'll move into the materials part. So what we basically cover or we report. So basically here a company, especially manufacturing plant, they actually report about their materials. So this reporting, as you can see here, that there are certain disclosures. So 301-1, that's material used by weight or volume. It could be solid, it could be liquid. So simple that material could be quantified, as we have also mentioned in the data. So recycled input materials used. So if any company use recycled material in their manufacturing, so they of course can declare it, and under this 301-2 certain disclosure guideline, they can do that. Reclaimed products and their packaging materials. So if any reclaimed products and packaging materials used by a company, that also need to be basically shared, or a company should share that, because these are all good side or positive side of a company that can be shared through a sustainability report. So basically this is kind of a company's commitment towards use of the natural resources and how much they are using it for their manufacturing and for their business. And that's how sustainability requirements and disclosures are also kind of set to share these things. Okay, so then moving on to the next slide. So this is about energy. So for all businesses, we use energy. It could be service-oriented company, it could be manufacturing, could be anything. And for what purpose we use? Like we use for heating, cooling, steam generation, and also usually we commonly use like fuel and electricity from grid. So a company can produce their own energy like captive power plant, or can be bought from the national grid. So how to report and how to report. So energy consumption within the organization. So that's kind of scope 1. Usually we know that that's kind of within the company's jurisdiction, within the company, that we will mention. Then energy consumption outside of the organization. So what other kind of entities they have used it. So that we will also share. And energy intensity, I have just mentioned during the kind of very beginning that intensity per product, or Ms. Nishat also mentioned intensity per head, energy intensity. So that's how we can report it, and we should report it. So for a service industry, it could be for a hotel, 5-star hotel. So energy intensity per client served. So there could be many reporting kind of ways a company can report. And then for an NGO or for a foundation, it could be like how much per client they served, or a microcredit loan program. So this kind of energy intensity. So again, as I have mentioned, so down the line, all company want to increase their client or increase their manufacturing. So from last year, this year's energy use could be higher, but at the same time, number of client could go higher, and also number of production or manufacturing could also go higher. So it's just that intensity we have to keep in mind. And if we target in that way, that would be easier to kind of conceptualize and report, and conceptualize by the reader and as well as for the company for easy communication. Then reduction of energy consumption. So as I have mentioned, if we use intensity, it will be easier for us to target reduction of energy use per head or per product or per client served. So easier, and how we are going to do that. And then reduction in energy requirements of products and services. So many ways, there are many ways it could be that initiatives taken. It could be a replacement of traditional equipment to energy efficient equipments. So these are the things usually mentioned in a report while we write about this energy and this, how to say it, like within the environment chapter. This is a sub-chapter or kind of a material topic. Within that material topic, there will be like paragraphs, there will be areas where disclosures are made. So that's how this energy is covered. So let's move on to water and effluent. So we also know that without water, no business can run. So water is an essential element of our kind of everyday life, whether we are at home or whether we are at an office or running a business or a service, manufacturing, whichever is kind of we are doing. So what actually we need to report. So if we look into the requirements is 303-1. So water withdrawal by source. So if we have multiple source of water, we have to share that. And water source is significantly affected by the withdrawal of water, and then water recycled and reused. So these are the things we need to cover while we are writing this water and effluent disclosures and also this material topic. So water is kind of very essential, and as I have mentioned, very delicate. So if some company has a zero liquid discharge plant, they can mention it very loudly here. This is kind of very new requirement coming from how to say it, like first world countries, and then we can also mention about our ETP, because if we use recycled water for any of the purpose, we can mention that. And also, if there is any adverse effect around the locality for the water withdrawal, we must have to mention that as well. It is not always that we talk about only the positive things. So we also need to report if there is any adverse effect, or if it is a zone where water is scarce or water layer is going down. So these also need to be reported. And it is not only that, it's also that what are the remedies or what are the solutions the company is seeking to cover that. Or as we have mentioned, what are the kind of guidelines any authorities have provided and how much the company is actually fulfilling that. It's kind of a writing within the requirement, but a company will have flexibility to write that. And there probably we have sometimes kind of our mindset that, oh, how do we write it? How do we report about this and that? The point is, since our kind of education system is different, that we always been taught to recite and write in the exam script and get a grade and pass through. So that was kind of style and mindset we have. So free flow writing, free thinking. So it's kind of we have to practice it, and then we can definitely make it perfect. So it is not easy, as Nishat has also mentioned, that writing an essay about any topic. I have also shared in the first or second lecture that journey by train, it was recited during our kind of school days. Whether a teacher could have given the opportunity with all the safety and everything to take the kids in a journey by train and then ask them to write the essay. So it's kind of seeing, doing it, and it's been different way of look to the topic. So here a company will have freedom, at the same time some minimum requirements, disclosure minimum requirements we need to cover. We'll do that. We'll look into that. So let's move on about emissions. Emission is a factor that's also important, because without this disclosure, a sustainability report is not complete. So we are receiving some messages. Yes, definitely, this is a boring topic. It's not really very much, how to say, like a kind of literature or like a novel. So it's definitely a structured topic, and we have given like 4 sessions only to cover like a very big area. So we have tried our best, and we are trying till to cover the technicalities of a sustainability report. All the opinions are welcome, but definitely these are new as well. And these are all technical things. This is not that it will be like kind of a chapter of a movie or chapter of a soap opera. So please kind of bear with us. We'll try our best to make it like, how to say it, effective for your kind of future sustainability journey. So yeah, under emission, we need to report about, of course, these ozone depleting substances and also NOx, SOx. We all know about these matters. So whoever is working in sustainability area, and definitely there are some disclosures. So what we need to say, so it's like direct emission, that is scope 1. So by now, I believe what is the scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3, we know that because we don't have that much kind of flexibility of time to kind of explain it over again. So scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3, all 3 emissions we need to report. And yesterday, we have also learned from one of the kind of participants that definitely those who are actually working actively in this sector, this is the fast evolving sector, and a lot of requirements are getting updated every kind of now and then. So this kind of, if the scope 3 emission is more than 40% for a company, they must have to include it under their SBTi targets. So companies in Europe and USA, they always used to cover only scope 1 and 2, which is own emission and also purchased kind of energy, electricity, heating, cooling. So they're that much, but that's not enough. SBTi, that's the problem, that SBTi is coming very hard. So I believe many of you actually heard about this SBTi thing as well. So GHG emission intensity, that is the similar way, the intensity we need to also kind of cover it. And reduction of GHG emission, what are the initiatives taken by a company, and what is the goal and target to basically reduce the GHG emission. So if there is any ozone depleting substances used in the company, or kind of, how to say it, like created by the company, that also need to be reported. So NOx and SOx, if any, or if there is nothing, that we will also have to report it. So waste, yes, like every industry, we also see that our ready-made garment industry is producing a lot of waste. And here, what we are actually focusing here, it's like solid waste mostly. So because water is covered in another chapter, so that is like liquid waste or water. So water and wastewater, both are covered there. Apart from that, here it is waste. So what we are seeing here is like mostly solid waste. So what are the initiatives, and actually, how to say it, like what are the kind of good things a company is doing to reduce their waste? So definitely that will be there. And also 306-3, so waste generated, how much waste was generated by a company. So frankly speaking, we go to many companies and they don't have any clue how much waste they generate per month or per year. What type of waste generate? Ready-made garment industries by now can say that, but quantifying it, it's a big thing. A company can provide data, but they're not confident about the data. So it may sound boring. It definitely is boring thing, but that's the fact. So waste delivered from disposal. So how much it was diverted from disposal, and then waste directed to disposal. So these are the things we have to report, and we have to deal with kind of in a way so that the data are very, how to say it, accurate, or if not, the estimation is near to accurate. The estimation can be done in many different ways, like per day, per year, or per month, per week. So there are different types of thumb rules of estimating this type of waste if the measurements are not taken while wastes are disposed. So many companies, they don't have any clue on how their waste are actually handled after it exits from their facility. So some have contracts, but they don't know what their contractors are doing with their waste. So these are the things we have to look into and we have to report regarding the waste generated by a company. So the next point is supplier environmental assessment. So again, we do our own thing, but we also have to assess our suppliers' environmental performance. Definitely, a cut-to-pack factory, they depend a lot. They depend a lot on the supply of the fabric from a fabric mill, and also accessories and other products. So, yeah, indeed, we have to take care of that. But for a vertical unit, for a manufacturing unit, they can take care a lot of things within their own boundary. But for a service sector, for like we have seen the example of Apollo Hospital in the first lecture or in the first session. So in that session, we have seen that they use a lot of suppliers, and they have committed that 100% of their suppliers committed to their code of conduct, and they have actually screened them. So here it is that we have to look into our suppliers' environmental practices. And again, so Sabbir Hossain Mollik bhai একটু মিউট করতে হবে ভাইয়া। সাব্বির হোসেন মল্লিক ভাই, সাব্বির হোসেন মল্লিক ভাই কি শুনছেন? একটু মিউট করতে হবে। আমার কাছে হোস্ট হিসেবে কন্ট্রোল নাই, so I cannot mute. So again, going back to the topic, as a buyer or as a kind of customer, your suppliers are obliged to comply the code of conduct is developed by you according to your clients, according to your buyers. So you will develop your code of conduct, your minimum business protocol for your suppliers, and your supply need to comply it. And again, if we see that suppliers are not complying, we can give them an opportunity. Okay, we have assessed you, the assessment is over, and then you will get 3 months or 6 months or 9 months or 12 months to correct yourself or to correct your way of doing business. And we know that some will follow the protocols, some will not. And definitely within that, we have to choose if our company, if a manufacturing company would like to remain relevant, remain sustainable, definitely they need to choose their supplier in the same way, because our ultimate customers are from Western world. So ready-made garment industry, that's where the focus is. So if we would like to export to Europe, so we have to follow the European Due Diligence Act, German Due Diligence Act. So the German companies are no more actually allowed to kind of bypass that. They can pass on the responsibility to others, and they can wash their hands. No, it's no more actually allowed. So they have the legal obligations within Germany. So do as a producer, our producers have the similar responsibilities. So what need to declare? So new suppliers that were screened during the environmental using the environmental criteria and negative environmental impacts in the supply chain and actions taken on social areas as well. So the thing is that both social and environmental criteria we need to check for our suppliers. So a supplier's problem can harm a business very much. So we have to be careful while we are screening our suppliers. Okay, so let's move on to social standards. Employment. So what we need to declare or what we need to disclose for a sustainability report in terms of employment. So address of the employment, it could be multiple addresses and encompassing organization approach to job creation, recruitment, retention, and working conditions. Definitely, these are very important things. But in Bangladesh, we don't see this. So there are very few companies, they talk about job creation, they talk about employee retention and working conditions. Very few companies. It could be, don't get me wrong, it could be very top-end renowned companies of our local market. So they don't talk about these things. So these are the opportunities that we can take, that that's how we create job in this segment. And our recruitment process is very transparent. It has formal declaration in the company website or at the front gate or the job site. And then that's how this screening is done. And then what are the retention policies? Employee turnover is very expensive. We know that. So that how that's a company is how they are actually preventing the turnover. That is also can be actually shared here. A good story can be told through this chapter. And also working conditions, of course. Many times we now hear that our RMG industries are very safe or safest in the world. And the journey was not easy. It could be that we have a few colleagues from RSC. So it started in 2013 after Rana Plaza, the biggest industrial accident in the history of the world. So that was the wake-up call for all the international brands, and that's 11 years ago it started, and now we can say that. And after millions of dollars invested, many efforts been done, and a lot of hardships. So definitely the working condition, the company, those who have implemented and remediated their factory, they can share about their working condition status with the RSC and Accord. So what are the requirements? We will see 401-1, new employee hires and employee turnover. Yes, we hire new employees. Many times we don't see that the companies are talking about their turnover. Turnover is a very negative thing. We also know that companies get hurt if the turnover is very high. But still, they don't want to talk. They don't want to solve the problem. But we definitely have to talk it, and we have to set target that will reduce the turnover over the time. These will be our initiatives, and what we are now doing, what we will be doing in the future to reduce the turnover. Benefits provided to full-time employees and that are not provided to temporary or part-time employees. Clear communication that who are the permanent employees, what they will get, and who are not permanent, what they will get. A company can clearly communicate them. And parental leave, it is definitely an area which is kind of not very balanced in Bangladesh, because we know by legal kind of requirement, we get 4 months maternal leave in private sector, 6 months in government sector. But for males, we don't have like paternal leave. So there are some companies there, rarely they're practicing it, but not in a kind of structured way. For the government, I think we have very little initiatives as well. So the thing is, paternal leave, it is also kind of an area we need to check, we need to promote, and we need to say that this is our company XYZ. It is not only that we provide full requirement maternity leave with full payment, but we also provide paternal leave for the fathers. So these are the thing, balance reporting. So paternal leave includes both. And it could be more, it could be that, okay, for a new mother, a company can provide additional leave or short working hours, or what are other benefits a company can provide. So these are the good storytelling experience a company can share. Okay. Occupational health and safety, definitely. This is very important area where there is any activities, or it could be service sector, it could be manufacturing, or it could be any other business segment like non-profit organization, non-governmental organization, foundation. So wherever we go to work or we have some activities, we must have to maintain the safety. So occupational health and safety, what are the disclosures? So how the company is managing it, what is the management system? And then HIRA, many of us, we know that hazard identification and risk assessment and incident investigation, how it is done. So it could be that this is nothing new for a company. Those who are certified against ISO 45001, they already have it. They can straightforward write it down in chapter, subchapter. So what are the occupational health services a company is providing? Worker participation, consultation, and communication on occupational health and safety. Many times we see that a health and safety requirements is set or ergonomic requirements is set by a manager. He has no clue about what a worker is facing while he or she is running the machine. So the thing is that a good company, or they will sit with the worker, they will bring them in, they will ask for their experience, and they'll make the policy according to that. So worker training on occupational health and safety. Definitely trainings are also divided in many different parts. So here it is, it's a kind of a mandatory thing we need to report. So how much training was provided to the workers on occupational health and safety. Okay, promotion of worker health. So how it is promoted. So up to this, we have seen like kind of minimum requirement, this sort of thing. And now it's kind of going beyond. So promoting of workers' health. So workers' health, how it was promoted, how company looks into it, and what are the additional things a company actually is doing. So in the summertime, many companies, they are providing Ursaline, water cooler system. So it's a water cooling is a legal requirement. However, Ursaline is a kind of beyond legal requirement. So what are other things a company is doing? A company can report that. And then prevention and mitigation of occupational health and safety impacts directly linked to business relationships. So how a company is preventing and mitigating that. Workers covered by an occupational health and safety management system. So this is an area a company can report in a way that all workers within the premise are covered within the health and safety management system. No matter what, it is temporary worker, it is full-time worker, it is a contractor worker, it is a kind of subcontracted worker, no matter what, OSH policy will apply to everyone. It will be covered for everyone. So work-related injuries, we must have to report. In the first session, we have seen that Nike is trying to bring it down, and they are in fact very low compared to industry standard. The industry standard was 2.3, but their achievement was 0.032. So it's kind of the thing, a company like Nike in their supply chain, they have found that it is not zero. But for injuries, the goal or the target will be always zero. It cannot be that we can say from before that we will have only one injury. No. The goal is we will have zero injury. That's the target for every company. We cannot say that any number for any injuries. So zero injuries, but if a company has a very dangerous operation and they have very high ratio of injuries, they can say that by this time we will make our injuries zero. It could be 3 years, it could be 2 years, and drastically we will reduce it by this much percentage. So through training, through kind of whatever measures needed, work-related fatigue, how they will mitigate that, and then breaks in between shifts, and also frequent breaks so that workers don't feel like very tired. So there are many ways a company can address that. Work-related ill health. So this is kind of thing that which is very hazardous work environment, like tannery sector or like dyeing area, or like a highly chemical exposure for a worker. So if there is any worker who are affected by that operation, and traditionally or historically we know which are the operations where workers in the long run actually suffer. It's like we used to know about this sandblasting thing. It was like 15 years ago it was banned. Nowhere in the world sandblasting was used because the sandblasting workers, they used to have the problem with the sand stuck in their lung. So sandblasting gone. And then potassium permanganate, it is also banned, but some factories, they're not taking care of in a better, how to say it, in a proper way, but still they are using it. Potassium permanganate, that is also a very harmful chemical. It harms the health of the worker and also the environment. So work-related ill health, if there is any, we have to report. So then moving on. So training and education. So we are coming back into training. So interestingly, we will provide, or a company provides many types of trainings. So we have to report how many hours of training provided per employee. So average hour of training per employee, so per year. So usually it is reported per year. So a company may provide training, 10 hours of training or 10.5 hours of training per employee. And the training topic could be like occupational health and safety, it could be orientation, it could be sexually transmittable disease, maternal health, it could be financial literacy, digital finance, it could be many topics, mental health, and then any program by a company for their skills upgradation. So we've seen that many company, they have the skills training center or technical training center within their premise. Ready-made garment industry, so they have their skills training center within their premise, and they regularly run program to upskill their workers. Because those who are from ready-made garment, you can relate to some projects that are also running, funded projects to actually upgrade the workers from kind of semi-skill to multi-skill, or making them a master operator. So these are like in-house programs already running in many companies. We can report on that here in this segment. Percentage of employees receiving regular performance and career development review. So it's that in many companies, we see that monthly performance review is also done for the floor operators or machine operators on the production floor. So this is the kind of best example. But usually we see that this performance evaluation is done for like managers, executives, yearly ones. It could be better that some companies now practicing quarterly, some are practicing half yearly. So it is always that frequency, if it is that we practice it quarterly or half yearly. Yearly is a must. So if not, then of course, I mean, half yearly is suggested, but we cannot skip employee evaluation or kind of performance evaluation for a longer time, because that demotivates the employee. So here, a company can say about their practice to attract the talent from the field. So one participant has written that a health break is needed. So it's 8:36. So let's take the kind of 10 minutes break. So we'll be back at 8:45, exactly 9 minutes. So we'll take a break now. So we'll take this break till 8:45. So thank you. We'll come back at 8:45. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So let's start again. It's 8:46. So we have just covered this slide. So diversity and equal opportunity. Let's start. We were in the social segment, how to report the social segment, material topics. So diversity and or equal opportunity or diversity or inclusion. We have seen some programs already in the sector or in many offices. Let's have a look into the GRI requirement or disclosure requirements. So diversity of governance bodies and employees. So two segments. Governance body means top governance body of a company, like directors or like management level, and the employees. So diversity among employees, it can be achieved easily, but diversity in governance bodies, it is not easy to achieve. So if not, then we have to say it that yes, how a company is thinking about it, what is their policy, and how they are going to address it. And then employees, definitely we'll discuss about diversities among employees. So ratio of basic salary and remuneration of women to men. So how much is the ratio of the basic salary for a company? So usually it is in Bangladesh, we have for manufacturing plants, we have this defined through our labor law and also through different minimum wage gazettes for different sectors like RMG, textile mill, and then tea sector, then other sectors. So many sectors, we have these minimum wages requirements. So that's where this ratio is also set, straightforward. And then remuneration to men to women. So usually RMG Industries is like women are ahead than men. So this can be reported in a very positive way. This can be reported in a positive way that how women are kind of taken care of or encouraged in the company in this sector. Okay, so let's move on to the next. Non-discrimination, of course. Discrimination is very, how to say it, bad in a company. A company's overall kind of work culture. If anyone is discriminated for no valid reason, then that creates toxicity among the colleagues and as well as peers. So it is always that openness and welcoming of employees, colleagues, staff, workers from all segment of the society. It's always better. So if there is any incident of discrimination, what corrective action was taken? While we say that, we still have incidents of kind of discrimination. If it is, we have to report it, that nepotism is there. So clear, straightforward discrimination and nepotism could be a point where basically there is a fine line. However, if anything, we can report it. If not, then we have to say how a company is addressing it or encouraging kind of openness rather than kind of closeness around discrimination or discriminating or targeting anyone or bullying anyone. It could be that bullying of a certain worker in a certain section may happen. So you have to always be alert on this. Child labor, very interesting thing. So if any company is kind of employing child labor, so that's a very risky situation. That's a kind of violation of the law. So ready-made garment sector gone straightforward. But sometimes we may have question that, oh, okay, we have issues, we have non-conformity in the child labor section, but that's the section heading only. It is not that there was child found. mainly the issues happen that adolescent workers may be found maybe 17, 18, 16, and that is suspected. It is not even confirmed. So age confirmation is very complex process. So without national ID card, companies are not recruiting. So we have other challenges that national ID cards are many times been made in a computer shop, or these are all fake. These are and kind of multiple challenges we have. However, we don't see that workers below 14 in our country, and by kind of how to say definition, all kids, I mean, child is here defined in Bangladesh 14 or below. From 14 till 18, it is adolescent, but for developed world, it is 16. For mid-income countries, it is 15. For us, it is 14 or below child. So we have never seen a worker like in garment industry for long. So mid-90s, ILO initiated a project, and then a child labor elimination program that's been covered, done. We don't have export-oriented industry, no child labor. But still we need to report it, how a company look into it. So what is their view and what is their policy around child labor? So what is the remedy a company they have? So we have to cover it, because globally it's a very kind of important issue, and we have to have policy, procedures, and protection around this. Okay. Then moving on, supplier social assessment. We have seen we need to do environmental assessment. We also need to do social assessment. While we just transited from the last slide of child labor, there is chances that at tier 4 level, there maybe a child labor is working in a kind of informal, I mean, embroidery shop, or in informal kind of shoe factory. So it could be that in the down the line tier 4, there could be some risks there, but factories, those who are directly exporting, child labor is not there. However, in this slide, supplier social assessment we need to do, and basically in this social assessment, we will cover definitely the social criteria that will include child labor, and also negative social impact in the supply chain and actions taken. If there is any negative social impact in the supply chain, we have to take care of that, and we have to address that. Okay, so economic. So economic performance, we have discussed this, that there is a clear kind of reservations, or how to say it, non-openness or like closeness around this data sharing. So this economic performance, even we have how to say it, companies we are working, they're not very how to say it, open to share their economic performance data. So again, as I have mentioned in last sessions, audited data is safe to share. So when a company is actually done with the financial audit through a certified chartered accountant firm, so that data is kind of confirmed that that's their revenue for the year, and also income before tax, income after tax, this and that, so many things. So what are the points need to actually share? So direct economic value generated and distributed. So revenue, and then wages and other expenses. Financial implications and other risks and opportunities due to climate change. If there is any, we will share, and define benefit plan, obligations, and other retirement plans. So what are the benefit plan for the employees of the company, and also if there is a retirement plan. Many companies, they have provident fund, so gratuity, but private companies usually they don't have any pension fund. It's only for the government organizations. So whatever a company is practicing, a company should share it and should say it in the loud that yes, these are the benefits the company is providing to their employees. Financial assistance received from the government, if any. It is not that a company is receiving financial aid every year. In a rare kind of example, we have seen that during COVID-19, government has provided some stimulus kind of funding for the private enterprises so that they can keep paying their workers even if they are not manufacturing anything or they are closed. So if any company receives such kind of fund, they can report that in their sustainability report. Moving on, indirect economic impacts. So this is very interesting for a private company or for a private enterprise running in an area which is backward. So think the change of Gazipur area or Savar area or Naranganj area, how it was 30 years ago. It was nothing. The price of land or the livelihood of the people of there, and I mean, anything, last 30 years, the change, what it has been, we see now, it's through the industrial kind of revolution of ready-made garment industry in these three areas, broadly mentioned, and also, of course, Chittagong is also. So like broadly, Dhaka, Gazipur, Naranganj, and then Chittagong. It's like 4 districts or 4 kind of broad areas, industrial zone. The change, indirect economic impact it brought in, came in through this ready-made garment industry. It's like massive. So with that, many private enterprises, they have invested in infrastructure as well. And also they have supported some services. Apart from the indirect money they have pumped into the economy or locality, they have also invested in infrastructure. And then some actually has created some, how to say it, CSR initiatives also. So it's like schools and also free medical center. So there are many things also done by these private enterprises. Tax, so what to report under this segment. So we must have to say company's approach to tax. The approach is as simple. It is complying to the local requirement. So that's simple, straightforward. And tax governance, how a company is managing that, control, risk management. Definitely a lot of transactions happen. If there is any mishap happens, then how a company is managing that. Control, of course, how it is controlled. And then stakeholder engagement and management of concerns related to tax. So how a company is managing that. So how a company is communicating with the tax authorities. National Board of Revenue, and also VAT offices, income tax offices. There are many kind of different offices a company need to deal with. And also if they import and export goods, there are more authorities to deal. So how a company does that. So country by country reporting. So if there is like a company has operations in many different countries, in many different parts of the world, so how they approach that. So that also need to basically report. So someone has reported that he cannot see the screen. So is it for others or I should reshare?
No, sir. আমরা স্যার দেখতে পাই।
No.
So I can stop share and reshare it. That much I can try. Or Mr. Ibn Sina, if you'd like, you can rejoin. So you can try. So I've stopped sharing. I'll share it again. So that much I can do. Okay. So Is my screen up now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so tax we have covered. Then moving on to targets, goals, and progress. Very interesting. We'll see how it is. So example of target, how a company, it's a manufacturing company from India. So they have set. So economic performance, what target they have set? They say that they will become $1 billion revenue business by 2026. And how they are going to do that? They will increase market presence, they will diversify their product portfolio, and they will innovate and do a lot of R&D. Very good. That's their economic performance target. And then, so they have also committed that they will increase the economic value delivered to vulnerable, disadvantaged sections in the regions that we operate in. We have, I don't know, some of us, we have heard that government give kind of tax holidays or tax-free opportunities to invest in an area which is backward in a country. So it's kind of such area, this company has facility, so they are committing more. It is not only investing in a backward region of a country, it is also they are committing more. So then commitment to introduce safety, climate, water, and inclusion nudge factors in the investment evaluation. So the company is saying where they will be investing more, they will look into these areas to include these factors while they evaluate for any investment in the future. So governance, risk, and compliance, how they actually commit to that. So that they say that computation of compliance score for year 2020-21, which is their baseline, on establishing compliance score system and improvement to attain maximum score by 2025. So they have given them own internal timeline, which is 3 years, that they will achieve maximum. So integrate ESG risk in ERM by 2025. So ESG risk they will include in their governance or in their overall management, enterprise resource management. So energy and GHG emission, reduce energy intensity by 17% by 2023-2024 against another baseline they mentioned here, 2019-2020. So we can see there are two baselines they have. A company may have two baselines. So they are targeting in energy intensity by 17%, which is very good. Reduce emission intensity by 15% by 2025, 30% by 2030, in alignment with this and that baseline. So purchase of grid electricity by 17% through renewable energy by 2030. You see, there are connections between these things, energy uses and energy purchase and emission. These are all connected. So their targets and goals are, some are short-term, some are mid-term, some are long-term goals. So they have addressed it and they have shared these targets very clearly. So look into the next, how they have reported their progress. It is not only setting target, it is also they need to report it. So here it is, total energy consumption. So they have actually shared in one table. Just see the last or the bottom row here. So reduction of energy intensity as compared to the previous year, which is 5%. But it may seem that the calculation is little complicated, this and that. For different type of readers, there need to be easy pick for them. So one line, 5% energy intensity reduction from previous year. That's it. Because a report is very big, and any interested audience need to go through many different chapters, and then they need to pick very important key facts and figures. This is one of that. Okay, so here how it is basically mentioned in the economic performance. So we are going back to again in economic because we are there, because that was an example related to environment. Target example related to environment. So it's like direct economic value generated and distributed. We have actually discussed it. That's how it is disclosure wise mentioned. 201-2, financial implications on other risks and opportunities due to climate change, defined benefit plan and obligation to obligation and other retirement plans, and then financial assistance received from the government. We have discussed it. So we will now see one disclosure as example, how it looked like in GRI standard. So direct economic value generated and distributed. What to report? What is the disclosure? What minimum we need to say if we would like to comply the GRI standard? So direct economic value generated and distributed on actual basis, including the basic components of for the organization's global operation as listed below. If data and are presented on a cash basis, report the justification for this decision in addition to reporting the following basic components. So this is the basic component 1, 2, 3 a company must report. So direct economic value generated, which is a revenue, economic value distributed, which are operating cost, employee wages, benefits, payment to the providers of capital means interest, payment to government by country means tax by country, and community investment, any investment in the community. Economic value retained, direct economic value generated, less economic value distributed. So how much a company gained, so gross profit. So that need to report. And again, many financial managers or CFO, they are not very comfortable to report this thing. So look into other part of the world. These are obligatory to report for any company registered in stock exchange, even in Bangladesh. Any company registered in stock exchange, they must have to report this performance every year. And AGM, annual general meeting, is an event. It should happen every year. If a company doesn't hold their annual general meeting regularly, that company is, how to say it, like put in a bad rating by the stock exchange. Company have to have annual general meeting. Company have to share their economic performance every year. And also, they, as I have mentioned also in last session, there are companies, those who declare their quarterly performance on the website of Dhaka Stock Exchange. If you go to Square Pharma, you will see every quarter what is their revenue they are actually generating. So it is there also. But for the companies in Europe and USA, even if they are not listed in stock exchange, they must have to report it. It's an obligatory requirement also as per law in those countries. So our finance colleagues who are here or not here, with all due respect, this data is kind of shareholders' right to know. They must have to have this information, and also a company, those who are aspiring to become more transparent, they need to share this data to the outside world. And GRI is nothing asking more. It is kind of the very barely minimum requirement is asked by the GRI. So again, how this Page Industries, they have reported, it's a private company, they have reported that how they have reported their progress. So the target was 1 billion USD revenue by 26. They have reported their 37% growth from previous year. But even if it's apparently a good report, but you see there is a mismatch. So we have to take care. There are different currencies are used here. They have said their target in US dollar, but they have reported their performance in rupiah, Indian rupee. So a company, when they are reporting, they should use single currency for the entire report. Convert the currency as per Sonali Bank's transaction rate in Bangladesh, because in Bangladesh, Sonali Bank is the bank where it is kind of done as per legal definition that Sonali Bank's rate are legally accepted rate. Other banks will follow their own rates. That's their business, but officially it's Sonali Bank's rate. We need to follow and we need to convert. And again, for reporting anything, throughout the report, use one unit. If it is gigajoules, please use only gigajoules. If it is cubic meter of water, please use cubic meter only. No gallons, no liter. So one unit throughout the report. So one currency should have been better. So it is USD and then rupiah they have reported. We have now no clue that how it is like connecting on how much they have achieved it. Because now we need to bring out calculator and we have to do the calculation that how much they are. But they're saying that progress is 37%, but still it could have been better if they have used a single currency. Okay, so commitment to economic value delivered. So 17% increase in community investment. So which is good. So they have said also their strategy and economic value generated and distributed, their narratives around that. So again, energy, we will see their energy intensity. Oh, sorry, we will see energy intensity disclosure. So what are the requirements we need to share? So the reporting organization shall report the following information: energy intensity ratio for the organization specific metric, the denominator chosen to calculate the ratio. So which denominator was used, type of energy included into the ratio, whether fuel, electricity, heating, cooling, steam, or all. Usually it is all suggested. For Bangladesh, heating doesn't apply because we don't have any heating thing. So whether the ratio uses energy consumption within the organization, outside of it, or both. So we have to clearly mention it. Is it internal only or is it both? Then compilation requirements. When compiling the information specified in disclosure, so the reporting organization shall calculate the ratio by dividing the absolute energy consumption, the numerator, by the organization specific metric, the denominator. So aids are also given here. So it's like aids are also given how to calculate, how to see the calculations, how to do the calculation. Help is also here. Okay, so please mute yourself if you are not asking any question or if you're not discussing. Milton Mannan Bhaiya, please kindly mute yourself. Please mute yourself if you are not discussing anything.
Question na? 1100 দেখছো বিল দেখছো?
Excuse me, Milton Mannan Bhaiya, please mute yourself. Thank you. Okay, so example disclosure 302-3. So it's a very broad group, 80 plus people. So people from different segment of the, kind of industries or businesses. So no issue. Okay, so how they have reported energy. So 58% is energy purchased as electricity from utility, means grid, national grid. So then energy directly from fossil fuels, that is 14%, that is diesel generator. We can understand that. Energy from renewable sources, 28%, which is very good. So they have like solar energy, likely. So that's kind of in our part of the world or the bigger Indian region, we have like solar energy, wind energy, not very common. So that's they have reported. Let's move on to the next slide. So they have given some numbers also. So 2020 and then 21, 22. So the 3 years comparison, we have mentioned it many times that it is the best practice to share 3 years data. So what is their baseline for this energy segment? 2019 and 2020. So how much they have progressed in terms of reduction? So, or intensity reduction, 5% in the first year, 16% in the second year, which is very good. Why I'm saying very good? Because it's saving their money. So that directly adds on their profit. So sustainability, if it is practiced right, it saves a lot of cost. It saves in the bottom line. So again, we move to the social area, 404-1, average hours of training per year per employee. How to report that? So we have seen the requirement, the disclosure requirement, and then it's the detail. Average hours of training the organization's employees have undertaken during the reporting period. It is not indefinite. So reports are usually per year. So how many hours of training undertaken, and then the division need to be provided by gender and also employee category. Interestingly, we will see that. So this is the report of a company. So they have shared this. Their training is divided in broadly in 2 segments, non-production and production. So it's a manufacturing unit. So they have said their production employees use this many 1,000 hours of training, and non-production this many. And also average how much? Production employees 17, and then non-production employees. So there are male, female divisions also here. So male, for both the instances, they received less training than female. Understandable, because for females, usually they are having more training in terms of maternity, in terms of their harassment and abuse, and then some other health kind of awareness issues. And apart from that, there are some technical trainings also. So for the males, it is female-male ratio is provided, and also by gender ratio is also given. It is not only like our ratio is also given in terms of gender, and performance review by job function. So that is also given. So how they have actually completed their performance review. It is not always that all companies can complete all. So within a year. So we have actually discussed it is best to do it even less than a year. Some companies are doing even quarterly, but at least yearly is a must. So flashback reporting pathway. So we have discussed till the blue, all the circles in our last session. So annual circle has this gap assessment, then identification of material topic, accumulation of data. So then match the data requirement with GRI, then disclosures, and then today we have started writing the storyline, context, data reasoning. So we have pretty much covered that. Then presenting data information in infographics. As we have learned that Excel is a very powerful tool, we can use that. Even the calculations are simple, but we can utilize it in our betterment for data representation. And also we can take help from professional designers to present the report in a good way. So progress gradually and systematically from previous year's report. So of course, we will progress in terms of sustainability performance, in terms of ESG performance, and also we will aspire to progress in terms of report presentation gradually year by year. So I think I have answered couple of times that the last date and this and that. So please see the previous messages. The last submission date is 31st of May, and you need to submit it to BIM, the course who are like hosts or coordinators. And please discuss with Dr. Nazmi Niyaz Bhai for further information. So these questions are frequently coming, and also these answers are given in the chat box. So, okay, 2030 agenda, we all know that 17 goals, 169 targets, 232 global indicators, and implementation via national planning process. Policies, strategy, and frameworks, 39+1. For Bangladesh, we have that, and many of us, we already know that, and we are working on that. Measuring and monitoring. So how to do that? Statistics, then geospatial information, and then Earth observations and other big data. So this is the thing, this integration broadly. Let's see how in GRI reporting or sustainability reporting or ESG reporting, many names we have, it is done. It's the circle basically we commonly find. So this first step is define priority SDGs. It is in the center, so which is step 1. So under step 1, there are 3 steps. It's like understand the SDG and their targets. Then 1.2, conduct principled prioritization of the SDG targets and define your SDG related to report content. So very clear, easy, that we need to understand SDG and their targets, conduct principled prioritization of the SDG, and define your SDG related report content. Please keep it in mind that we don't need to cover all SDGs. If we can cover like 7, 8 SDGs, good enough. If we can connect that, even 6, that is also fine. And overdoing or overkilling is not good. So for the first report, we need to start in a way that doesn't comes back to us with a lot of questions. So understand in a way, grasp in a way that we are well off, firm on the ground, and whatever we say, whatever we share, we know that we are confident of that, not to overdo anything. So then step 2 is measure and analyze. So set business objectives. 2.2, select appropriate disclosures and collect and analyze. So that's kind of measure and analyze. Then step 3, report, integrate, and implement change. Very important. So 3.1 is consider general features of good practice when reporting on the SDG. Very easily written. So general features of good practice when reporting. So good feature means a company's good feature. So your company's good feature against that SDGs, we need to consider. And then consider data users information needs. So who will be the user? So think in a way that their information need, we need to cater. So then report and implement change. So we need to report that and implement that change. Okay. So we have just seen the whole circle because it was kind of how to say it, smaller. So we have brought in this in a broad way. So define priority SDG targets. So under that we have 1, 2, 3 steps we have just seen. So SDG and their targets, and then prioritization of the SDG targets and report content. We'll define it. And then moving on. Measure and analyze. So set business objectives, select appropriate disclosure, and collect and analyze data. Then step 3, again, 3 steps. Consider general features of good practice of your company. Data users information need. So who will be viewing the report? think in a way that you are a reader of your report. So how they will see and what would be their information requirement, and try to cater that through this report. So report and implement change. So here it is again. How business reporting on SDG can support sustainable development, which is a kind of obvious question. So why we need to do that, and how it can support SDG development. So business activities and real world impacts. Then business reporting on SDG. Of course, a company will be doing, it will be reporting on SDG, and use of business SDG report by investment community. So see, the company who are reporting clearly or transparently on SDG, so that report will be seen by investment community. So who will be the investor? It could be bank, like institutions, it could be individuals, or like it could be other investment funding, hedge fund or other funding companies. They will be looking into it. And informed investment decision, channeling capital to responsible business. So if a company is doing good in terms of their ESG reporting, transparency reporting, they definitely the investors will be interested and they will invest more. And that's how we have seen two videos, like Apple video and also Nokia video. So there are some other companies, their communications are also good. Apart from their sustainability report, which comply multiple standards, but still they create like short video to communicate their achievement, to communicate their goals and targets and progress. So if a company can do that, the investors will feel more interested. So Apple is rated one of the top companies in the world because of their good practice, because of their transparency. Definitely, product quality is there. So product quality, that's their business core. Apart from that, they are doing beyond their product. They are doing beyond the legal requirements. So that's how the investors, they also feel that if they invest in Apple, they'll get good return. So that's how this will contribute to sustainable development. So Apple has shared that they have reduced water uses by 60 billion gallons, which is huge, and their offices are carbon neutral. So these are all impacting on sustainable development goal and also climate change in a positive way. So that's how a business reporting on SDG can support sustainable development. So this is one private enterprise's kind of SDG guide, how they have used it. And we know this company Hoplund, someone actually say that it's a kind of Swedish investment in Bangladesh. They have factories in many countries, like in China, Vietnam, even in Central American countries, they have investment. And they are kind of, how to say it, their business is niche business for lingerie production. They produce undergarment for ladies. So they are very master of that. They have like very top end brand. They have also discounter brand, or like a very common brand like Walmart or like Primark, or like very basic product range. So they are specialist on that. They have their sustainability reporting and they have their style of reporting those and connecting those with the SDGs. Let's pick one from environment and one from social. So on water, clean water and sanitation, SDG goal 6, ensure access to safe water source and sanitation at all level or at all their facilities. So how they have reported their progress, very important thing. 8% reduction of water consumption per head count since financial year 20. So see, that's how they have measured is 8% per head count, because they are operating in many different countries and the data could be different for different countries because of the culture of the worker. It can differ from country to country, the awareness level. So that's why they have reported overall as an average for their water reduction for entire group. capacity building for wet processing suppliers to improve water efficiency and wastewater treatment. So here, interesting, it is not only they are talking about their within own business items or topics, but they are also going beyond that. They are working with their suppliers. We have seen multiple times that basically we need to work with our suppliers in environmental and social and governance, all the areas to improve their performance. Otherwise, it will bite us back. In a way, it will harm the business, it will harm the business reputation, and it will cost a kind of maybe punishments or fine in the country. So what are the references? They have also cited the reference. And then let's speak gender equality, goal 5. Achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. That's kind of goal. That's their goal. Okay, 44% women in supervisory position, company-wide training on DEI. So these are the kind of achievement or progress they have made. So 44% women in supervisory position, which is very high in global ratio. But wait, there is more surprise for Hoplon. In Bangladesh, Hoplon has more than 90% supervisor female. But this is their global data because I've worked with them. I had the opportunity to work with them for many years, and we had a project with Hoplon, a skills development project, totally funded by UK Aid and Swiss SDC. So they have 90% plus supervisors female, and most of them were trained and promoted from within their own facility in Bangladesh. So they have done it, and it is doable, and it is possible because they are a specialized product manufacturer like lingerie product manufacturer. Socially, our ladies are shy to talk on the lingerie product with their male supervisors. And it was a problem identified by their management long back. And they took a strategy to address it. And it has taken them more than like 10 years or so to bring it to this level. So with the commitment and with the resilience from the top boss or the top investors, it can be achieved. Even exceptionally, still in Bangladesh, it is possible. And also for lingerie factories, the female supervisor ratio is relatively higher, even in Bangladesh than other sectors. So interesting. So we have discussed about one factory. So someone has asked, how long is this session? So the session is usually, it's like almost at the end, you should say. So we'll now see some examples. Let's go to those examples after this. So major contribution of Bridgestone Group, that's how they have actually looked into it. So they have selected only 6 SDG goals. And if we look into the previous slide, there were 2 segments, and for Hoplon, they also have identified 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 6. So social and environmental, they have 6 SDGs they have targeted. Bridgestone, global leader in tire manufacturing, they have also selected 6 or prioritize 6 out of 17. So you can also do similar 6, 7, max 8. So sustainability management plan. So what is a sustainability management plan which you need to submit to BIM? So it's a strategic document that guides an organization in managing their economic, social, and environmental impact. It is very essential for an organization to manage these impacts effectively, and then through setting clear goals, targets, and strategies, through regular evaluations, different type of organization can significantly contribute to sustainable future. And each plan should be tailored to be specific and needs and capacities of organizations need to be developed, because we are hearing at the beginning that a single person's job is not to write a sustainability report or doing this sustainability thing in an organization. It cannot be done. It's so vast, and so many things are needed. So I don't want to give the exact number, but at DBL Group, they are a company consistently issuing their report. They have around 20 colleagues in their sustainability team. 20. They are a big group of company. We also know that they have multiple manufacturing units. So for their manufacturing plants, they have more than 20 colleagues in their office to manage this whole sustainability and reporting around that. So we will basically look into how different type of companies can set their sustainability management plan. So for manufacturing companies, goals and objectives can be, if you are from manufacturing company, your goals and objective can be like this, like reduce carbon footprint by certain timeline, then resource efficiency over certain timeline, waste management. Of course, timeline should be always there. Like SMART goal, we have discussed it in the first session or in the second session probably. So we've discussed about setting SMART goals. And sustainable supply chain. So easy thing to pick. So our supply chain, if we ask them to be sustainable, if we do the follow-up, easy to achieve. So what could be the key strategies? Invest in energy efficient machinery, renewable energy sources. So process optimization strategy, what could be? Implement lean manufacturing techniques to reduce waste. Water conservation, water saving technologies, and recycle process water. Sustainable materials, source materials that are recycled or sustainably produced. So that are the strategies. Against these goals, these are the strategies, all 4, 4, 4, we will see. So how this can be implemented? So this energy audit is very good tool to know the improvement and the progress against the goal, again, and also set the baseline. And then training program. So lean training program and lean manufacturing process adaptation can be done to do the process optimization thing. And then supplier engagement, collaborating with the suppliers, kind of visiting them, auditing them, assessing them. That way it can be achieved. And reporting and monitoring, of course, we need to report it regularly. If it is a team, definitely a responsible person, they need to look what are the KPI we need to cover from the field so that we can report it. So evaluation metrics. Reduction in energy, how much in kilowatt hour, percentage of decrease in waste production. So zero defect, there is a concept in lean, that's zero defect production. So if these can be implemented, that will save a lot of money for a company. Because if any defect is detected at the very beginning, the whole, I think, item can be stopped there and can be saved in terms of many ways. So water usage reduction, we have seen it, that how this can be done. So laser guided tap or like push tap can be installed. So investment and number of supplier meetings, sustainability criteria. So these could be the evaluation metrics very broadly and broken down in KPIs, we will see. So what could be the actions? We can also see solar panels on all manufacturing facilities, transition to energy efficient lighting and machinery, conduct energy audits annually, identify and implement further energy saving measures. So these are the actions can be taken. So there are some goals for service sectors as well. So we are not going to discuss everything, but we will look into example. Let's see one example because our time is already over. So for service sector, it is there. For non-profit organizations, we have also added examples. So then NGO examples are also there. So what we'll see, so we'll see example very precisely how it is done. So a company can say, so source 50% renewable energy by 2050. It is the goal, energy management. Solar panel installation, transition to energy efficient lighting and machinery, conduct energy audits annually, identify and implement plan to energy saving measures. So this is energy. Waste reduction. So these are the measures a company can take. You can write this in your sustainability management plan, and you need to elaborate this. We will not provide a kind of template. So template and copy paste, not good. We're not actually going to provide any template. So you can elaborate your own company's kind of initiatives in a way, and you can write it. And no matter how much or how many pages, but if you write it on your own, that will help you rather than copying and pasting from any template. So that's waste reduction. And then water conservation. So how much? 20% by 2030. Water efficient fixtures, recycle water uses, flush water into from the basin. There are other measures as well. And then rainwater harvesting, bit expensive, but still wherever it's feasible, a company can do that. Emission reduction connected to energy. So fair labor practices, we have added like social area as well. Regular training and health and safety standards, annual review of labor practice. So adjust policy. So labor practice, a company has a policy that need to be also reviewed. One policy created 5 years back, no. You have to review it regularly. Provide competitive wages and benefits. Diversity and inclusion, we have discussed it and covered it. So avoid any sort of nepotism, or like from that area of Bangladesh, that district of Bangladesh, one manager is there, one supervisor is there. Please avoid that. It may give little kind of comfort in the short term, but in the long term, this is very, very harmful for an organization. For a sustainable practice, this is not suggested. So we can also set a measurable diversity goal to track progress. And also during hiring, hire, if the qualification is similar, hire a diverse person rather than a common person. So community engagement, it is also important. And then we have to support and engage with the community. We have to do some paid, we can do some paid volunteer work as well. So procurement policy, of course, we need to develop a policy, procurement policies. Supplier audits, we have discussed it. So you can elaborate this further on this thing. So prioritizing sustainable suppliers. Supply chain transparency, that is also important. We have a colleague from Open Supply Hub. So supply chain transparency is a big requirement globally from many parts of the world. So after Rana Plaza, they've started declaring it, and now with GPS location. So transparency about the supply chain, it's important and demanded by the companies. Research and development investment, very important, very much needed. Lean manufacturing principles. Resource optimization. So examples are there, clearly added in the PPT deck. We will share the PPT deck with you, and you can take references from here, but you have to write and you have to elaborate from there. So financial examples are also given. As much as you can, your company or your service or your non-profit company is connected, please elaborate that. So that's the submission deadline. So it's like 31st of May. So we received already the instruction from Said Bhai that where to submit the assignment.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt Mundasir Bhai again.
Yes, Bhai.
I have put the message on the chat box for everyone.
Yes.
what to submit and how to submit. Participants are requested to put their name, their organization, and their ID at the right top of their plan.
So thank you very much. We have taken a little bit because of the technical glitch at the beginning. There was some noise issue or this
Yeah.
clarity issue. So yeah, it's 9:46 on a Friday, but still it is not very kind of easy or like commonly discussed thing. It may sound a little boring, but still your time well spent, and we are here to support and help. If you need any support, any clarification, anytime, please do connect with me. So we are available, and also Nazmi Niaz Bhai and his team. So we have a couple of hands already raised. So Arif Bhai is first,
জি
please.
জি আসসালামু আলাইকুম একটা সাস্টেইনেবল রিপোর্ট করতে আপনি যেটা বলেছেন অ্যাটলিস্ট আপনার 4 থেকে 6 মাস লাগে তো এটা হাউ ক্যান পসিবল যে আমরা 10 ডেজ অর 12 ডেজ এর ভিতরে আমরা সাবমিট করব
Okay,
এটা
yeah,
plan.
acha. একটা plan is like a plan, not your whole report. How you are going to manage your sustainability in different indicators. Just give us a draft plan. That's it.
সো আমি একটা ডেমো রিপোর্টই দিব বাট এটা একটু প্রিসাইজ করে দিতে হবে আসলে কোন ধরনের ডেটাগুলো এখানে সাবমিট করব আমরা আপনারা যেভাবে বলতেছেন একটা রিপোর্ট কিন্তু আসলে অনেক সময়ের ব্যাপার তো এটার জন্য আমার মনে হয় একটু প্রিসাইজ করা উচিত থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ
নিয়াজ ভাই, আমরা যেটা
জি।
করতে পারি, আমরা
হ্যাঁ।
একটা রিপোর্টের দামই দিয়েছিলাম, ওটা আমরা হয়তো দিতে পারি। It could be যে
জি, আমি
reference-
ওটা তাদেরকে শেয়ার করব শনিবার বা রোববার সকালে থার্ড ব্যাচ কালকে আপনার সেশনটা শেষ হওয়ার পর।
জি ভাই, তাহলে
Okay, আমি
ওনাদের
বলতে চাচ্ছিলাম যে মুদাসসির ভাই, আমরা এটা বলতে চাচ্ছিলাম যে আমরা ডামি দিলে